Hey everyone, welcome back to Buick Outdoors. If you're new around here, my name is Sheldon Marion, and today it's minus 27, and with the wind chill it's going to feel like minus 41. So I figured it's a good day to grab my big bag of fire starters and try them all out. Anyways guys, before we get into this though, we're going to start in the house so we can go through them all, except for the one that I'm going to leave till the end. It's a nice little homemade one that anybody can make, and it's extremely efficient. Alright guys, so here is all the different little fire starters and stuff that I picked up here on my trip to town. What we got is some fire starter spray. I'm not too sure about this stuff here. It's about the only one that's kind of going to make me a little nervous. I don't like using any kind of propellant fuel kind of a thing, but we're going to give it a go. We're going to give it a try and see if it's safe or unsafe to use. That way I can do it and I can let you know. If it is safe, I'll give it the thumbs up. If it's not safe, I'll definitely let you know. We also have just some Purell hand sanitizer. This stuff is basically alcohol in a gel form. So this stuff, it should work with a little striker. Also, we have a couple of different styles of these little fire starter blocks. They're kind of, it's almost like a cardboard kind of soaked in some sort of a lighter fluid. So we got this one from Extra Flame. This one is from Woods. And then I even went out to the dollar store where I found these ones. So even if you don't exactly have a lot of money and you want to try this out, or if you want to see if dollar store works just as good as these ones, you know, these were, I think, around 10 bucks. This is $1.25. So I mean, if this $1.25 one works just as good as these ones, save yourself some money. Here we have just some regular old Woods waterproof matches. We have this thing here, which I've never heard of this. Basically, what they're saying with this, it's a pull start thing. You basically put this in a wood bundle. You take the one end of the cord, wrap it around a piece of wood. There's another string that you grab it and you pull on it. And when you pull on it, it lights. I've never heard of them before. I've never tried them. It says that they're windproof up to 200 miles per hour, so be careful with this. Burns for 30 minutes, lights wet wood, no matches required. This is one, like, you shouldn't play with any of this stuff inside, but this one for sure, because if it gets away on you, you're going to try to blow it out, and I don't think you can blow with your lungs 200 miles an hour to put it out. People just kind of freak out if things start to go south. So this one, I wouldn't want to mess with that inside the house at all. Here is just a 6-hour Wick cooking fuel. So with these here, you kind of see them kind of like in hotels and stuff for banquets when they have like those little hot trays with a little water bath in it, and it steams your trays on top with the food. You'll see these are underneath it, just kind of keeping things warm. You see this like a candle. One thing that I like about this is that this jar is full of pretty well kerosene, I'm assuming, and then there's a wick on there. So if you just have a striker, in theory you should be able to strike the wick, get a fire going, do whatever, blow it out, put the lid back on, then you're good to go. How leak proof this is afterwards, I don't know. I haven't really messed with it. But that is going to be something that we're going to be trying out. Also, almost everybody has seen one of these. It's just a striker. So, can't remember what it is. It's a flint and steel kind of a thing. A little ferrule and rod. So basically, you take this, you strike it against that, and it gives you a nice, great big spark. So we'll try that. And then also, there's a survival kit, which is going to be a different video, but I am going to use one of the tools in here, and that's this thing right here. Basically what this is it's kind of like a lighter, just no lighter fluid, so it's just the rolly part there and the flint. So hopefully that works. You'll be able to strike it. Maybe we'll use that with this. Who knows? But anyways, guys, that is what we have to work with here. Also, I have one more here for you, and it is a homemade little project. Alrighty, so we made her back outside here, and it definitely hasn't warmed up at all, so I kind of want to get a fire going fairly quick. So I think the first one that I'm going to try is the Woods aerosol spray here. So it's just the Woods fire starter spray. On the back here, it just says for directions, hold the can upright, spray in a sweeping motion, and then carefully light firewood with an outstretched arm. So we're gonna see if this works as good or as easy as it says. So I got some wood down here just so the snow doesn't put our fire out. And basically I'm just gonna do kind of like a log cabin style. So I got 3 on the bottom, turn it, put 3 more. Give her something like that. Now the downside with something like this is that you need the spray, you also need a source of ignition, and a lot of times when you're out in cold weather like this, lighter doesn't always work, but we're gonna give this a go. So we're gonna give her a pretty good little spray. In my pocket I have a lighter. So far it's going. We'll see if she spreads out or if the wind blows it out or not. So far it's a very, very slow burn. So like this stuff, it must be kind of like a kerosene kind of a thing where it is actually fairly safe to use. So for this, I actually kind of like that. I think the wind might blow it out if the wind was blowing a little bit harder. But for right now, I'm able to get my hands warming up. And it's making filming outside today a little bit more enjoyable. Oh yeah, that's nice. Alrighty, so now I just blew the fire out there so all the wood's still nice and dry. One of the other ones I'm going to try here next is we have a pile of these little fire starter sticks. They're almost like cardboard or compressed wood, kind of in pucks. And it smells like they're kind of drenched in a lighter fluid kind of a thing. So we got the Woods, the Extra Flame, and then the dollar store one. So to start it off, we'll start with the Woods one. Unfortunately with this stuff, you do have to take your gloves off, which isn't overly too exciting for me, but gotta do what you gotta do. I like to keep everything in plastic bags too, just to keep everything from getting wet. And with this, there's no instructions or anything like that, so take one of these out. You can peel them off. I'll see what one little block does. See, that's what I mean by when you're out in the cold, sometimes your lighters quit working. But that block, once you get her going though, it does seem to work. And I'll see if we still have any of that spray on here or not. There we go. Now I can work my hands again. So this, the woods one, it does work pretty good. You know, it takes quite a bit to get it to go if your lighter's working. I'll see how it is with the wind. So it is, yeah, if there's any wind, it blows these out pretty quick. So as long as you're not exactly in a windy situation, these will be, they'd be okay. But the slightest little bit of wind, it'll blow that out real quick. So the next one that I'm going to use is the Extra Flame. It's the same setup like the woods pucks here. Basically the same thing, kind of looks like cardboard. They're all compressed. There's these little lines that I'm assuming you can just snap this off. Kind of snaps off all right. And then with this, see if my lighter works or not. The wind's picking up slightly. It's pretty well identical to the woods. You have to hold the flame there for quite a while for it to go. So these ones I don't really know about those. And the slightest little bit of wind puts these out too. So those again are kind of like the woods ones. They're okay, but I wouldn't want to be exactly relying on those overly too much. You know, warm up my hands a little bit. So while we're testing these sticks, I'll also try the ones that I got from the dollar store. The woods and that Extra Flame one, you can get those at Canadian Tire, but they're a bit pricey for what you get. So I'm gonna see if these dollar store ones work just as good. They're $1.25 compared to I can't remember what those are, around like that $5 to $10 range. Oh, the fire there is starting to pick up now. This is nice. Well, as you can see, the wind is blowing, so it is kind of nice to see how these things react with the wind. It's not just a calm day. So far, I'm not overly too impressed with these. They are kind of nice because they burn for a long time, but they go out extremely easy. So far, my favorite has been that wood spray. As long as you have a lighter that works, a sparker might work, but it's something that we can test on another day as well. But anyways, with the wind blowing right now, I gotta wait till it kind of dies down that little bit. Seeing the ones from the dollar store, they work just as good. If not, they're almost better. It seems to be kind of holding up to that wind just a slightly little bit better. You know what? These ones from the dollar store, they're not bad. They are definitely better than the ones from Canadian Tire that I picked up, and they are a fraction of the price. See, them woods ones and that extra flame, this bit of wind that we have right now would have blew it out. I'm actually very impressed with how good this dollar store fire starter is working. Well, but as you can see, that the wind is no joke today. It's blowing pretty hard. Oh, so we'll put that to the side. What else do we got? So the next thing, goodies here, are waterproof matches. Again, they're just woods. Picked these up from Canadian Tire. I don't believe that they're the windproof ones. They're just waterproof. But let's test them out in the wind here first. And they're holding up not too bad in the wind. Now let's dip them in the snow. A little bit of snow on it. That's the lights. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this ahead just a bit, because now I have a little bit of snow that's melting underneath here. Grab this, put it inside all this slush and snow and water. Oh, I had a hard time lighting. Maybe we'll do her one more time here just to test her out. So they're covered in snow and slush. It's a delayed reaction, but it does light. The only problem is, once this wood gets wet, it goes out instantly. So these, the striker works and the sulfur works, but in the end, the wood isn't covered in any kind of a wax or anything like that. So these, to me, are no good. And that's the woods waterproof matches. The sulfur's waterproof. The striker seems to work, but in the end, wood is wood. When it's wet, it doesn't light. So here I got two different liquid fire starters. We're gonna start off with this one here, and it's kind of, I like it because especially nowadays seems like almost everybody has it. It's Purell hand sanitizer. It's basically just alcohol that's in a gel. With this stuff here, I know that it works. The only problem is when it's windy like this, it'll go out really fast. Unfortunately, with this stuff too, is that when it burns, well, it's alcohol, so when it burns, it's a really faint blue flame. So what I can do is I can take some, put it on here, pretty good glob of it. And then if my lighter works, I'll see if it'll actually light or not. It did light, but as soon as that little bit of wind touched it, it went out. And again, it went, but with this little bit of a breeze, it blew itself out real quick. So it's one of those things where it works okay in a situation, but if there's any wind, you might have some issues with it. And then also too, if you don't have a source of ignition, you don't have a lighter or matches, you might have a hard time getting that one to light. Even if I put it right directly into the fire, it starts to burn. But that little bit of wind just blew it out again. So Purell, it does work, but only in certain situations and if you have a source of ignition. The next one is our 6-hour Wick cooking fuel. So inside here is just liquid, kerosene, I believe. Basically what it tells you to do, take your top, spin her off, and here you have this wick. There's kind of like a gel on it. And again, it's just like that Purell where if there's any wind like this, it puts it out really quick. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is a flame about that big on there. And it is slowly going, but the wind has died right down too. So we do have a flame. According to this, you have 6 hours of burn time. And that flame, it's getting bigger now. It's that big. That little bit of wind's coming back, but it's still burning. One nice thing with this is if you're out and about, you can light this. It'll go. It'll burn. You can get your fire going. You get your kindling, birch bark, whatever it is that you're using. And then when you're done, blow it out. And you can see that it actually took quite a bit to blow it out once it actually goes. So now that it's actually burning, that wind, it doesn't put it out hardly at all. Let's see. So that one actually burns very well. Kind of changed my mind on that one. That one, I like that. Plus, the amount of heat that was coming off of that, you could get a pretty serious fire going. And this thing, it's right full. We have 6 hours of burn time with this canister. And what's nice too, is this cap, a little sealant in there. So you put it on, if it's upside down, there's no leakage. So that's pretty nice. I like that. That's definitely a better alternative than the Purell. So this one here, this is the pull start fire starter. Basically what it's telling you, you unwrap it, you take this green line, and you loop that over a log, you build the structure logs, and then you pull the red one to start it. So that's kind of nice because you don't need a source of ignition. It's already comes pre-wrapped in plastic. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to turn this stuff upside down So it kind of puts that all out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run into the woodshed here real quick. And I'm going to do what they say to do. I'm going to grab a couple of big blocks of wood. Whoops. I'm going to grab a couple of big blocks of wood. I'm going to set it up here. Put the string around it. Give it a pull. Then I'm going to see what happens. Alright, so that fire is basically out here now. It's smoking a little bit, just kind of steaming, but I have a couple of pieces of wood here from the woodshed. According to the pictures, they're saying use big chunks like this. So we'll see how good it actually works. So we'll get started here. So no matches, windproof to 200 miles per hour. Lights wet wood and burns for 30 minutes. So loop the green end around a piece of wood. Build a structure around the logs and then pull the red tab. So we'll set that there. I don't know, maybe we'll do something like this so I can kind of hold that in place. Put these here. Now, just to make sure, I'm going to put my glove on that's closest to the string and see what happens. Well, I pulled the string, nothing happened. It made a pop. And nothing. So I think that might have been a waste of money. And you can smell it. It smells like a cap gun got shot off. And I do have more. So I'm going to try this again. Because now my hands are starting to get cold. So if this here, if it works, I bet you it'd be pretty cool. But that's if it works. Put that there, put that there. Well, that time it went. Oh, jeez. Make sure you're nowhere near that thing. That stinks. So it's almost like a road flare. Oh, I'm downwind of this. And my jeepers. That kind of burnt my nostrils. Ooh. It stinks, but the fact that it didn't go the first time, I'm not overly too impressed. If they all worked as good as this one does, then it wouldn't be that bad. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's just a constant sizzle and a burn. Oh, the chemicals are in there though. That can't be good. Yeah, you don't want to breathe that one in. Oof. So it says it burns for 30 minutes. I don't know how long it's been there now, but that initial burn is kind of done. Now it's not smoldering, but now it's kind of acting almost like these pucks, where it's, yeah, whatever it is that makes it start. I don't know if there's just a bunch of sulfur in there or what, but that kind of sizzling noise and stuff, that's all gone now, and it's slowly picking up. But I mean, it's making those slightly dark. That was directly on it. And I pick it up like this. I don't know. I'm not too impressed about that. Let's get a real fire going here. Get some smaller stuff on it. Here, I'll move that so you can see. I definitely wouldn't trust my life on this one. I mean, it does work, but I don't really like that. Just the initial fact that that first one, I pulled it and it went pop, and that was it. I don't like that at all. So the next one that we have here is just the Woods Striker. These things are nice to have, whether it's from Woods or one of the other ones. They're nice and small. You can put them in your pocket, keep them in your bag, and it's just a ferrule and a rod, or a flint and a steel kind of thing. And some of them you get just the rod, and you're supposed to use your knife with it. Where this one here, it's nice because it comes with this. And basically, I don't know if I can do it with my gloves on or not. You take this, and you see when you strike it, it sets off that really nice spark. I don't think they advertised it, but I think somewhere around I've seen where that spark is something like 700 or 1000 Fahrenheit kind of thing. So it is nice to have. You can kind of direct it. If you have something like a fuel canister, it'd be nice. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take that fuel canister, I'll set that up kind of over here, maybe kind of away from that fire. There's your fuel canister. You have your flint and your steel. Now it is hard to do with your gloves on. There we go. So even with your little flint and steel, it's a bit hard to do with gloves on. I'll try to do it with my gloves off. I'll blow this out. So with your gloves off, you can still, it's a little bit easier. But man, these things, this one is not the greatest. All I'm doing with this one is peeling it off, and it kind of sparks. But it's almost like once you get through that little black layer, yeah. So this one here, the woods one, it's not the greatest one. I broke it already too. So that's why we test these things though too. I've have other ones that I've used in the past where they worked phenomenal. You can dip them in the water and you can use them and they're great. This woods one, that's probably just gonna go in the garbage pile. One more that I have to try is out of this SOL survival kit. So basically what this one is it's kind of represents almost like a dead lighter. Oh, let me warm my hands here for a second. So this here is just a piece of plastic with kind of like the rolly off a lighter. And that sparks pretty good. Unfortunately though, with this, I don't know if it's, oh no, it doesn't feel frozen. Not quite enough spark to get that to light. With this too, there is a little bit of a spark there, but it is not much at all. So with this, I'm gonna call that one a bit of a failure as well. So far, it seems like the best thing so far is the old matches and lighter. Kind of the go-to for me in my truck, in my side-by-side, in my sled, in all my bags. I carry at least 2 or 3 lighters plus 2 or 3 boxes of matches. So everywhere I go, I always have some sort of a way to light them. Also, as you can tell, everything is in these plastic bags. So in that way, you know, if your stuff gets wet, as long as your plastic bag holds up, your stuff stays nice and dry. And then one more thing I have to show you is this is my homemade deal. So what this is here, it's just cotton balls and Vaseline. The great thing with this, if you have a striker that works, not like this one here where it only sort of kind of works, you'll pull off a little bit of fluff and a little bit of a spark will get it going. The Vaseline is kind of your propellant, what kind of starts it, and then your cotton balls is what kind of keeps her going. And even right now, with it being close to minus 30, this stuff, it's still somewhat pliable. You can see there, you pull her out. Lots of Vaseline on there still. I'll see if my little striker will work or not. Nah, this thing, it ain't no good. Throw that over there. You use a lighter though, you can see how it flashes up really quick. And they burn for quite a while. The wind's blowing, it's not blowing it out. And that's just one cotton ball. I got, I don't know, maybe a dozen of them in there or so. And you can see it burns for a nice long time. It puts out quite a bit of heat as well. Ooh. But with that, you know, you can make this yourself at home. I just mix in a couple tablespoons of Vaseline with a dozen cotton balls, put them in a bag, squish them all up. And then with the Vaseline too, while you're out in the bush, you can use it for a lot of different things. If you have your dogs with you, you can put it on the bottom of their feet, on their pads, so their pads don't freeze up. If you have a little bit of frostbite or anything like that, you can take that, put on you. If you get a cut, you can put on you. And like I said, you know, it burns for a long time. Like, it's still going. When you blow on it, it doesn't really go out. It takes quite a bit for you to actually put it out. Now I put it back down there, lit back up. But yeah, these Vaseline cotton balls are by far my favorite, just because they're easy to use, easy to make, and they fold up this itty bitty, real thin thing. Everything else here kind of takes up quite a bit of room. So if you're looking at making your own, I'd use up these cotton balls. Well, you guys, there you have it. That pretty well sums up the review here on some of our fire starters that we wanted to try out. For me personally, I'm going to stick with the old trusted matches and lighters, and maybe that aerosol spray. That stuff worked pretty good, but man, almost everything else other than the homemade cotton balls and Vaseline, I really don't know if I'd trust that stuff out in the bush where we go anyways. If you have equipment, you have to rely on it, and I can't 100% say that the other stuff will work. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. Leave us a comment or two. Tell me what kind of fire starters you guys use. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.